Hi, it's Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life, and today is World Menopause Day. You may have noticed you'll see a lot of posts about it, and that's a really good thing. We want to be raising awareness of menopause and perimenopause, and the fact that a lot of women can really struggle through this time. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about supplements because I get asked a lot of questions about what works, what doesn't work, what should you be taking, what shouldn't you be taking, and the answer is actually there's no simple answer because everybody's different. Everyone's got a different experience of this time, and it very much depends on what's going on for you. But there are some general supplements that can help, and I'm going to go through a little bit about some of the ones that have worked for us in clinic particularly. And particularly for those people that don't want to go down the HRT route or can't go down the HRT route, it's important for you to know what you can take naturally that can help your symptoms. So it all very much depends on your symptoms, your history, your own biochemistry, your diet, your lifestyle, your genetics, any potential imbalance you might be having in your body, any meds you're on, all that kind of stuff. So before I go into any kind of particular supplements, do please check with your doctor if you're on any medications or if you have or have had a health condition in the past, because supplements are not totally safe if you've got medications going on, because they can interact and actually make things worse. So we don't want to go down that route. So when you're going through perimenopause or menopause, there are various hormones at play here. So we've got, cortisol, thyroid, insulin, and you've got the sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Those are the main ones that are fluctuating and potentially causing symptoms. So we want to basically look at each of those. I do a workshop on this if you want to look at the different symptoms of each one so that you can get a feel for that, and it's also in my book. So do have a look at that if you're wanting to know what hormone might be more out of balance for you than something else. But they do have an impact on each other, so you can generally have a lot of symptoms in crossing over and impacting each other. So of course diet is incredibly important. We want to be doing food first in most situations. So staying away from kind of processed foods, eating lots of nutrient dense foods that are really supporting your hormones, not looking at calories. We're looking at food as information and a message for your body. So we want lots of nice, good, healthy proteins, healthy fats, really kind of low GL carbs or complex carbs rather than the refined carbs, because that's going to mess with your blood sugar. But sometimes diet isn't enough, and especially as you get older, because we tend to be less good at absorbing our nutrients. So we might be on brilliant diets, but we're just not absorbing the nutrients that well because the digestive function just kind of declines with age as well. You might not be getting as many nutrients in your diet as you think, because we have, the soil quality is quite poor. We've got, processing of foods and long transports as well, which can deplete nutrients. And also your gut health really impacts, how much nutrient absorption you have and what you're doing with that food. So sometimes, and especially when your body's under stress, because stress depletes a lot of nutrients as well. So we want to make sure that we're getting everything we need. And if you're on a good diet, that's the first thing. But supplements can be really, really helpful. And gosh, it's confusing out there, isn't it? We've got a whole gamut of supplements we could be taking. We've got friends saying, well, I take this and it works for me. We've got the media pushing certain things. And we've got all sorts of headlines going on as well, which are very contradictory sometimes. So we don't really know what to trust, what brands we should be choosing. So it is quite confusing. So hopefully I can dismiss some of that. So really we want to be looking for good quality supplements. And unfortunately they do cost a bit more than the cheap ones. That's because, they've got good ingredients. And we don't want to be taking supplements with lots of fillers and cheap ingredients. And actually we're looking for ingredients and nutrients that the body can really use. So the most absorbable form, because you don't want to actually take supplements, then your body has to just work really, really hard to convert those into a form that it can use. So particularly with B vitamins. And we want therapeutic doses. Some of the cheap supplements, multis particularly, that you get are, there's such small quantities in there that it's not really going to make much difference. And that's what they tend to do these studies on. So that's when the headlines say, well, supplements don't work, that kind of thing, because, they're doing it on the supplements that I definitely wouldn't be recommending. So I'm going to go through categories of various imbalances. If you've got an adrenal imbalance, so you're stressed and your cortisol is raging, then we want to make sure we've got enough B vitamins. B vitamins are incredibly important for that because adrenals use them up really quickly. Vitamin C is another one. and magnesium. Those are the three that really, really help with adrenal function and for stress. Now, also for adrenals, you might want to look at something called adaptogens. Now, these are various herbs like rhodiola, ashwagandha, and there's lots of nice formulas out there now that help with adrenal function, and they just support your adrenals, whether they're high or low, to rebalance. Thyroid, we're looking for protein, which make up the thyroid gland. So tyrosine in particular is an amino acid that makes up your thyroid gland, and you find that in most protein sources. You need some selenium, which you can get from Brazil nuts. You only need a handful, like 3 or 4 Brazil nuts will give you enough selenium for your thyroid. Iron and iodine, really important. Zinc, vitamin A, these are things that you will find in meat, fish, eggs, nuts and seeds, kind of a real foods type based diet. For blood sugar balance, we're looking for cinnamon, very, very helpful. So you can take that in as a cinnamon, as a spice, or you can buy a formula with added chromium. That's a really important nutrient for blood sugar balance as well. Chromium you'll find in most protein sources as well in terms of food. When you've got going through perimenopause, your progesterone can decline very quickly. So for there is a herb called Agnus castus that can be very helpful for stimulating progesterone. Doesn't work for everybody, so it's worth a try, and it won't get your levels up potentially as high as they need to be, but it's definitely worth a try. For high estrogen, we're looking at helping that excess estrogen get out of the body. So we want to support your liver. So things like DIM, very, very useful for supporting the liver function to get rid of that excess estrogen. Also liver supporting things like milk thistle, very important. N-acetylcysteine is a really lovely liver nutrient that converts into glutathione, which is an antioxidant, really, really important for helping your liver and your detoxification. Food-wise, we want to be eating lots of cruciferous vegetables. That's broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, rocket, watercress, those kind of Brussels sprouts. Don't just have them for Christmas. Those kind of foods really, really help the liver to get rid of that excess estrogen, because you don't want lots of high estrogen running around the body, because that's going to cause symptoms. Lots of fibre, and make sure you're hydrated for that estrogen and that liver to work properly. If you've got low estrogen, this is where you're going to get the hot flushes and the night sweats and the dryness and all of that. It's really, really hard to get your estrogen levels up just through food and supplements, but there are some as a range of nutrients called phytoestrogens, which help, plant estrogens basically, that help to adapt your estrogen. So they can be helpful when you can't take HRT and you can't replace those hormones. And they include things like food-wise, flax seeds, soy, but stay away from processed soy. You're looking at really fermented soy like miso, or organic tofu, things like that. But stay away from too much processed soy, because that's not going to really help. And there are a variety now of herbs that you may have heard of that profess to help with hot flushes. Now, some of them can work, some of them don't work. And it very much depends on you. So it is a bit of an experimenting thing. These include things like black cohosh, dong quai, red clover, sage, and hops. There are a few others, but those are the main ones. Now, one of the ones that I found to be more effective than others in a lot of cases, again, I'm not going to say it's going to work for you because it may not, is a supplement with a mixture of soy isoflavones and hops, and it's by Nutri Advanced, and it's called Meno Hops, M-E-N-O Hops, H-O-P-S. It's worth a try if you're having chronic hot flushes and nothing else seems to be working. But food's incredibly important too. Flax seeds, lentils, chickpeas, those are the kind of things that have these phytoestrogens in. Now, general health-wise, we want to be on omega-3s because we're doing a lot of testing recently on omega-3 and 6, and everyone seems to be coming back deficient in omega-3s because we're just not eating enough oily fish. I don't know about you, but I like the odd sardines, but I can't eat them 3 or 4 times a week. So salmon and mackerel are other forms of it as well. So if you're not getting 3 or 4 portions a week, then you'll need to supplement with a good quality omega-3 supplement. Again, you're looking for EPA, DHA in that supplement, and at least 1,000 milligrams of combined, because otherwise you're going to be buying some cheap fish oils that are probably rancid by the time you get them home. So do invest in good quality omega-3s. Vitamin C, again, because most of us are stressed and we're depleted in vitamin C. Magnesium, again, that's another one that adrenals, that stress depletes. And I've done a whole video on magnesium, so have a look at that in terms of what format you need to be taking. A really good multivitamin with these active B vitamins in them so that the body can use them. And you want to be very careful with your multi that it's got folate rather than folic acid. Folic acid, the body has to convert into folate, and about 40% of us can't do that. So it actually just ends up building up lots of folic acid, and it's synthetic. So we want the multivitamin we use to be to have folate in it, and there's lots of different varieties of folate. So and then when you're taking, we mustn't forget vitamin D, incredibly important. Now we're getting into the winter. I'll probably do another video on this anyway, because we need reminding. Vitamin D through the winter, very, very important, at least 1,000 to 2,000 IU, if not more. And you need to be taking it with K2. Vitamin K2 is really important because it doesn't work very well without that. And we'd only get K2 from something called natto, which is not very nice anyway. So, well, you might like it, but I don't. So we need supplementing. Anyway, got to keep this brief. That's a very brief overview of supplements to look for and to try when you're going through the menopause. Again, please check with your doctor if you're on any meds. And if you're unsure, if you want more help with this, so that you want a personalized supplement plan for yourself, obviously we can help with that. And we can also get you tested to find out what you really, really need. So do get in touch if that's the sort of thing you want to do. And yeah, have a great day. Take care.